90% of traders fail. You've heard that statistic. Maybe you've dismissed it as exaggeration. Maybe you've thought, I'll be in the 10%. I'm smarter than that. I won't make those mistakes. But here's what nobody tells you. The 90% who fail aren't stupid. They're not lazy. Most of them work harder at trading than the 10% who succeed. They read more books. They watch more videos. They study more charts. They're incredibly dedicated. So, why do they fail? Because they're solving the wrong problems. They're optimizing the parts of trading that don't matter while completely ignoring the parts that do. And they don't realize their mistake until their account is gone. Today we're breaking down why most traders actually fail. Not the surface level reasons everyone talks about. The real reasons. The structural problems that almost guarantee failure unless you understand them and actively work against them. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which traps you're currently in and how to get out before they destroy you. Quick thing before we start. I created a free resource that addresses several of these failure points directly. It's the Professional Traders Emergency Protocol. Covers what to do when the exact situations that destroy most traders start happening to you. Link in the description, completely free. Grab it. And if this series has been valuable, subscribe. We're building the complete operating system for professional trading. New breakdowns every week. Let's get into it. The first reason most traders fail is their trading strategies they don't understand. They take a strategy from a course, a book, a video. They learn the entry rules and exit rules. They might even backtest it. But they don't understand why it works. They don't know what market condition gives it an edge. They don't know what would cause it to stop working. So, what happens? The strategy hits a losing streak. Normal variance. But because they don't understand why the strategy should work in the first place, they have no framework for determining whether the losses are normal or whether the edge is gone. They panic. They abandon a working strategy at exactly the wrong time, or the opposite happens. The market condition that gave the strategy an edge changes. The strategy stops working, but because they don't understand what made it work originally, they don't recognize that the edge is gone. They keep trading it. They think they're just in a rough patch, when they're actually trading a strategy with no edge, losing money systematically. Professional traders never trade strategies they don't understand. Before they risk real money, they can articulate exactly why the strategy should have an edge. What market behavior is it exploiting? What's the assumption about how other traders behave? What condition would invalidate that assumption? This understanding gives them a stable foundation. When losses happen, they ask, is the condition that creates my edge still present? If yes, the losses are variance. Keep trading. If no, the edge is gone. Stop trading. They're making informed decisions, not emotional guesses. The second reason most traders fail is they're focused on win rate instead of expected value. They want to be right. They want to win more often than they lose. This seems logical. Winning feels good. Losing feels bad. So they optimize for win rate. But trading isn't about being right. It's about making money. And you can be right 60% of the time and still lose money if your wins are smaller than your losses. You can be right 40% of the time and make a fortune if your wins are much larger than your losses. Expected value is what matters. Expected value is your average win size multiplied by your win rate, minus your average loss size multiplied by your loss rate. A strategy with a 40% win rate and a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio has better expected value than a strategy with a 60% win rate and a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. But most traders can't handle being wrong 60% of the time. It feels like failure. And so they tighten their profit targets to increase win rate. They widen their stops to avoid getting stopped out. They're destroying their risk to reward ratio to feel better about their win rate. And they're trading strategies with negative expected value while feeling like they're doing well because they win more than they lose. Professional traders are comfortable being wrong. They understand that win rate is just one variable in the expected value equation. They optimize for expected value, not for how often they're right. If a strategy with a 40% win rate and a 4-to-1 risk to reward has positive expected value, they trade it, even though it means being wrong more often than right. The third reason most traders fail is they treat trading like a job instead of like a business. They think, I'm going to trade for 8 hours today and make money. If I don't make money, the day was wasted. This is employee thinking. You're paid by the hour. Time worked equals money earned. But trading doesn't work that way. You're not paid to sit at your screen. You're paid to execute your edge when it appears. Some days your edge appears 10 times. Some days it doesn't appear at all. If you trade when your edge isn't present, you're not working hard. You're just losing money. Professional traders think like business owners. A business owner doesn't generate revenue every single day. Some days are spent on maintenance. Some days are spent on planning. Some days are slow. But over time, if the business has an edge, it generates profit. Trading is the same. Your job isn't to make money today. Your job is to execute your process correctly today. Some days that process generates trades and profit. Some days it generates no trades and no profit. But you still execute it correctly by not forcing trades that didn't meet criteria. Over time, correct execution produces profit, but not every day. The fourth reason most traders fail is they're addicted to the action, not committed to the process. They love the feeling of being in a trade, the excitement, the possibility, the emotional rush. So they find reasons to trade even when their criteria aren't met. They lower their standards. They talk themselves into marginal setups. This is gambling psychology, not trading psychology. Gamblers want action. They want to be in the game. The specific bet doesn't matter as much as the feeling of having action. Traders should be the opposite. They should be totally fine with no action if no valid setups exist. Professional traders are often bored. They spend hours watching markets where nothing happens. They're okay with this because they understand that trading is about patience, not action. The edge comes from being selective. If you trade constantly, you don't have an edge. You have a gambling problem. The fifth reason most traders fail is they're managing their trading based on account balance instead of based on process quality. They have a good week. Account is up. They feel successful. They relax. They get sloppy. They break rules. They think, I'm doing well. I can afford to be less strict. Or they have a bad week. Account is down. They feel like failures. They get desperate. They force trades. They size up. They think, I need to make this back. It's both responses are wrong. Your account balance is a lagging indicator. It tells you what happened, not what's happening. Process quality is the leading indicator. It tells you what's going to happen based on how you're executing right now. Professional traders evaluate themselves on process, not results. After a winning week, they ask, did I follow my rules? If yes, good week. If no, I got lucky and I need to tighten execution. After a losing week, they ask, did I follow my rules? If yes, variance. If no, I broke my process and that's why I lost. The account balance is a side effect of good process over time. It's not the measure of success on any individual day or week. The sixth reason most traders fail is they're trying to trade too many things. They have 5 strategies. They watch 10 markets. They trade 3 time frames. They think more opportunities means more profit. But what actually happens is they spread their focus so thin that they never master anything. They're mediocre at 5 strategies instead of excellent at 1. Every strategy requires deep pattern recognition. You need to see hundreds of setups to internalize what a quality setup looks like versus what a marginal setup looks like. If you're splitting your attention across 5 strategies, you're seeing each setup type a fifth as often. It takes 5 times longer to develop real skill. Professional traders specialize. They pick one market or one strategy or one time frame, and they become experts. They see the same patterns over and over until they can identify quality setups instantly. This specialization gives them an edge over traders who are trying to do everything. The 7th reason most traders fail is they don't have enough capital to survive the learning curve. They start with $2,000. They think, I'll grow this into a real account. But trading has a learning curve. Even with a good strategy, you'll make execution errors in your first few months. Those errors cost money. If you're learning with $2,000 and you make normal learning mistakes, you'll blow up the account before you develop the skill to be profitable. Then you're starting over with another $2,000, and you make different mistakes, and you blow up again. You're in a cycle of perpetual failure, not because you can't learn to trade, but because you don't have enough capital to survive while you're learning. Professional traders understand that trading requires a learning capital buffer. You need enough money that normal learning mistakes don't destroy your ability to continue. This might mean $5,000. It might mean $10,000. It depends on your strategy and your position sizing, but it needs to be enough that you can take 100 trades and make mistakes and still have capital to continue learning. The eighth reason most traders fail is they're optimizing for complexity instead of for effectiveness. They think more indicators means better analysis. More variables means more control. More rules means more precision. So they build strategies with 15 indicators and 27 rules. And these strategies are impossible to execute in real time. When you have a complex strategy, every decision point requires multiple calculations. Your brain gets overwhelmed. You start skipping steps. You make errors. The complexity that was supposed to help you is actually preventing you from executing correctly. Professional traders prefer simple strategies, not because simple is easier, but because simple is executable. A strategy with 3 clear rules can be executed perfectly under pressure. A strategy with 20 rules will be executed poorly because you can't process that much information when you're emotionally activated. The best strategy is the one you can execute consistently, not the one that looks most sophisticated on paper. The ninth reason most traders fail is they think edge comes from predicting the future instead of from managing risk. They're trying to figure out what the market will do next. They think, if I can just predict direction accurately enough, I'll make money. So they add more analysis, more indicators, more chart patterns, trying to increase prediction accuracy. But edge doesn't come from prediction. Edge comes from asymmetric risk to reward setups combined with enough occurrences that probability plays out. You don't need to know what will happen. You need to find setups where you risk 1 to make 3, then take enough of those setups that the math works in your favor. Professional traders are comfortable with uncertainty. They don't know what will happen on any individual trade. They just know that if they risk 1 to make 3 and they're right, more than 25% of the time, they make money over a series of trades. That's edge, not prediction. Probability management. The 10th reason most traders fail, and this might be the most important, is they quit before their edge has time to play out. They trade a strategy for 30 trades. They lose money. They think the strategy doesn't work. They try a new strategy, 30 more trades, lose money again. New strategy. They're stuck in a cycle of perpetual beginner status. But most strategies need 100 trades minimum before you can evaluate whether they work. 30 trades is noise. 50 trades is still mostly noise. At 100 trades, you start seeing your actual edge emerge from the variance. But most traders never get to 100 trades with one strategy. They keep switching. Professional traders commit to sample sizes. They decide, I'm trading this strategy for 100 trades regardless of what happens. This commitment forces them to work through the learning curve, survive the variance, and actually see whether the edge is real. And most traders never give themselves this chance. So, to summarize why most traders fail, they trade strategies they don't understand. They optimize for win rate instead of expected value. They treat trading like a job instead of a business. They're addicted to action instead of committed to process. They manage based on account balance instead of process quality. They try to trade too many things instead of specializing. They don't have enough capital to survive the learning curve. They optimize for complexity instead of effectiveness. They think edge comes from prediction instead of risk management. And they quit before their edge has time to play out. These aren't small errors. These are fundamental misunderstandings about what trading actually is. And until you fix these conceptual problems, no strategy will save you. You could have the best strategy in the world and still fail if you approach trading with these broken frameworks. The good news? Every single one of these problems is fixable. You can learn to understand your strategy. You can shift focus from win rate to expected value. You can think like a business owner. You can prioritize process over action. You can build enough capital. You can simplify. You can embrace uncertainty. You can commit to sample sizes. Most traders fail, but it's not because trading is impossible. It's because they're operating from frameworks that guarantee failure. Change the frameworks, and you change the outcome. If this was valuable, subscribe. The entire series is designed to fix these exact problems. Each video addresses one piece of the professional trader operating system. You're building it one video at a time. Grab the emergency protocol from the description. It's a practical tool that helps with several of these failure points in real time. Use it. Most traders fail. You don't have to be most traders. You have the information now. The question is whether you'll actually implement it or just keep doing what everyone else does. The choice is yours.